And I'm particularly glad to see, because my understanding of the first version was that I believe some of the fines or penalties or years were certainly not strong enough. And so I can appreciate that there has been an attempt to increase it. It will always be subjective whether you think it's long enough for imprisonment and if the amount of fine is big enough, given that it is a billion-dollar industry at the end of the day. Under Section 6, referring to prior rights subject to prohibition, 6.2, it says, for the purposes of subsection 1, the minister may enter into compensation arrangements with persons who have been adversely affected by the prohibition under this act. Again, given the nature of what we're dealing with, and clearly it has been a controversial matter until it has been brought finally to where it has, if the leader of government business can state, if we have an idea of how many or how much of this exists, so that we can get an appreciation if there are some liabilities that the government will be taking on and to what amount there is.
This is one of those situations where I think we have to celebrate an act. We have to celebrate the fact that as a community, as a country, we have come together to agree on what the right thing is to do. There's been a lot of discussion about this. There's been a lot of debate about the economics of it, about the social impact of it, and we've come to a situation where all of us have agreed that this is the right thing to do. So for me, it's a Christmas gift. That's how I see it. No, Christmas gift. I just want to see if I can clarify a couple of the issues, though, that have been raised. In the definitional, in the interpretation section, the Maritime Zone of Belize, and let me speak to that first, includes all the internal waters, all the territorial sea, the exclusive economic zone, but there has to be some line defining where land is and where water is. And that line is the low water mark. That's not anything that's unusual. That's how we define where land begins and where maritime areas end. That's normal. That's what we do. How much is between the low water and the high water mark depends on whether we're on the cliff edge or on a nice low beach. Yes, because the high tide will, exactly. But for definitional purposes, we have to take it, there has to be some line where it ends, and so that's the sole purpose of that definition there. In terms of the barrier reef system, comprising coral reefs, all of that is just dressing on top of the very specific coordinates that are established here for the whole barrier reef system. It's been surveyed out, it's been determined, it's written into the law, so the barrier reef system is a subset of the maritime zone of Belize.
With respect to Section 6, and several senators have mentioned it, it is my understanding that there are no outstanding petroleum licenses. At least it was issued by the Ministry of Natural Resources, and in my short tenure, I came across none in that area. I certainly didn't sign any. And I think Senator Barnett, minister responsible for that department now as Minister of State, has echoed the same.